Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watch You Want, and thanks for logging on. Today we're looking at this IWC Pilot's Watch Worldtimer, reference 326201, 45 millimeters in brushed stainless steel. This watch is a current reference that debuted in 2012, the most recent year of the Pilot's Watch that saw many debuts in this catalog from IWC. As one of the recent references, it incorporates everything IWC knows about its longtime Pilot series, building an instrument-style watch but incorporating modern refinements, complications, and functionality for luxury watch users. And you can see on my wrist, the Pilot's Watch Worldtimer wears more like one of the larger 46 to 48 millimeter big Pilot watches than one of the smaller Mark series. 45 millimeters, but with very full, broad, arcing lugs, the watch takes up pretty much all the real estate on my 6 1/3 inch, 16 centimeter circumference wrist, and at just under 14 millimeters thick, it's 13.5, with relatively sheer, jutting sides. There are going to be some tighter cuffs that won't really be compatible with this, some very tight dress cuffs, but most long sleeves should be able to slide up and over considering the slight tumble home of the bezel itself. Now the watch is comfortable on the wrist thanks to the regular finishing of the flat, solid case back, as well as the exceptionally high quality square scale alligator leather strap. Now while the strap is exceptionally thick where it joins the lugs, it tapers off quickly and gains a great deal of flexibility as it moves toward the underside of the wrist. The softer part of the wrist gets a very flexible, supple interface with the watch, and that's compounded by a very high quality of black calfskin on the reverse side, so what touches the skin, both in terms of leather and steel, well finished, very soft, very comfortable. Now the watch itself is a high quality piece with a clasp to match. I want to put a little bit of focus on this single deployant clasp because with two finishes, polished on the interior, brushed on the hood of the buckle, it really is almost like a microcosm of the quality of the fit, the finish, and the assembly that's evident throughout an IWC tool style watch. Closes with a very satisfying snick. It's an exceptional piece in its own right. But the highlight is the Worldtime watch itself. With a brushed metal case, it's more subdued than the high polish Pilot's watches that you'll see in the Breitling catalog. Some think that the polished Pilot's watch is a little bit of peacocking, if you will, and I'm inclined to agree, because if you can recall the IWC Mark Series watches over the years, the Zenith El Primero Rainbow Flyback military chronographs of the 1990s, Pilot's watches are at their best with a brushed finish so as not to reflect glare into the pilot's eyes in the cockpit, and IWC has finished this watch in that tradition. But as a luxury accessory, it also makes the watch a little bit more versatile in as much as the more subdued finish pairs better with formal attire. So you have that flexibility by virtue of the professional style finishing in the brushed stainless steel case. But the dial really is the highlight, and it's kind of the reason for being for this watch. The combination of a traditional IWC instrument style Pilot's Watch hours, minutes, and seconds display with a Worldtime function gives you versatility if you are traveling, for instance by aircraft, or simply following those who do travel while they're on their way abroad. Now the bottom line is that the traditional Pilot's Watch Arabic numerals in high contrast white with quarter indices allows you to read the time easily at a glance. Although this is a complicated watch, the fundamental civil time functions at center, the local time, are easy to read without any kind of inherent complexity. A small and discrete date window at 3 o'clock uses the new style triplicate date that IWC's integrated into the Pilot's line. It's designed, in their words, to evoke the imagery of an aviation-style altimeter. So the instrumentation you might see in the cockpit, that's exactly what the triple date is supposed to evoke, and it works well in its way. Some will like the single aperture, some will like the triple, but the bottom line is, with a monotone black date disc, it disappears until you want to see it, so IWC has designed in some discretion. It's part of the composition, but you really don't notice it until you specifically look to reference the date, and then the red index arrow at 3 o'clock tells you which of the three numbers is being referenced on any given day. Again, unobtrusive, but a nice practical feature to include in this composition. It is, however, the Worldtime function that defines the Pilot's Watch Worldtimer, and this one's a little bit of a variation on the traditional Louis Cotier, Vacheron, Constantin, Patek, Philippe Worldtime system. Well, you do have the bicolor 24-hour counter-rotating 24-hour reference chapter ring around the hour track, and it does move in 24-hour cycles counterclockwise with respect to the reference cities, you can only adjust the world time chapter ring itself. The cities themselves are fixed, and the index, the point of reference, is London, UTC, at 12 o'clock. So now you can set the world time function by fully deploying the screw down crown. When you pull it all the way out, it hacks the balance, it stops the time altogether, and now you see I can set the time while at the same time moving the chapter ring, the world time chapter ring, in sync with the movement of the hour hand at center, the local hour hand. But there is another setting position. Once I have synchronized UTC and I have my world time display, the secondary setting position allows me to set the local time independently. So I have my world time simultaneously, all 24 time zones, each with a symbolic reference city, and then I can set my time independently, and the local hour hand, as you can see, will drive the date forward or backward. This is a complication that IWC adds to the basic 2892A2 movement that really helps to make the mechanical aspect of this watch all their own, and it adds to the utility of the Pilot's Watch Worldtimer. As you travel, you can adjust that reference time forward or backwards, and the date will stay in sync, while the reference time itself, the 24-hour ring, remains stationary, keeping all cities on the same correct time as they were before you made your adjustments. Now, it's an excellent feature that gives you flexibility as you're traveling to continuously reference every time zone, even while you keep your watch set correctly. Now, the movement inside this watch is an IWC 30,000 series based on the ETA 2892A2, as I mentioned. It's thin, it's fine, but it's also tough, and it's every inch the equal of an aggressive sports watch in this pilot style. The nice thing about it, though, is that IWC gets the basic movement and performs quite a bit of additional elaboration on it, refinishing it to their standard of cosmetic finish, redesigning it to their standard of engineering, new mainspring barrel, new train wheels, new regulator, and of course, the addition of the world time complication itself. So IWC has a lot of manufacturer watchmaking savoir-faire invested inside this watch, as well as in the display, the case, the strap, and the buckle. Realistically, if you're looking for a watch that gives you that classic IWC Pilot's Watch look, with the fit, the feel, and the image of a large timepiece, if that's the style you prefer, but you do want mechanical complication and practicality, for instance, if you are a traveler, a pilot, or if you merely know those who are, the IWC Pilot's Watch Worldtimer is a great option. A modern watch with 6-bar water resistance. It's also incredibly secured against explosive decompression in as much as the crystal is mechanically locked to the timepiece. A true pilot's watch if you need it, a fine fashion accessory if you prefer, beautifully built in any case. The IWC Pilot's Watch Worldtimer, reference 326201, can be seen on our website, Watch You Want.